All right, guys, this is Kelly from Heels, Deals, and Wheels Mobile Home Investing Course, and I got a special guest, not only because she's a mobile home investor, guys, she's also my home girl. We just found out that we're from the same place, Detroit, Michigan. So, guys, those of you who don't know me, I'm originally from Detroit, Michigan, and I was talking to her, and I was like, man, who would have known two girls from Detroit, Michigan would be this knee deep in the mobile home business? Okay. Gina, thank you so much for being on here, number one. And introduce yourself to everybody.
Hello, everyone. My name is Gina Gerzie. I am the CEO and owner of G2 Mobile Home Manifestors. I've been in the mobile home industry since 2016, but honestly, it was a industry that found me. I wasn't even looking into even walking in this particular direction, but I can definitely say that since I've been in this industry, it has been nothing but a blessing to me and many other families that have reached out and utilized my services. So I am absolutely excited to be here for you and be able to do this interview and be able to share my knowledge and as well as my experience with you as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. And so you say you've been in the business since 2016, but what were you doing before mobile home investing?
Prior to mobile home investing and off and on to this day is in the field of HR. So I'm basically an HR director as well as a fitness enthusiast. So I teach yoga as well as do yoga from Ashtanga to Vinyasa in any form of fitness. So that's my second love is the fitness industry. So between that and also from HR from time to time, just to be able to, I can close the gaps. So I'm a woman of many hats. So I call myself that.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of looked at some of your pictures. I'm like, boy, this girl isn't gonna make me not eat today. Your stomach was all flat. I said, okay, let me get off of her pictures right now. But anyway, so why mobile home investing and why not like single family homes?
That's a great question. With mobile home investing at the time, and still to this particular time, it is a lucrative field to get into if you don't have the best credit. And also, it's a field that's not saturated with a lot of people. It may seem like it is because we have our own community with mobile homes, but really, it is an untapped market in many, many states. Versus you look at the single family homes and things of that nature, you actually have realtors that's fighting over the same money, that's fighting over the same properties. You're not going to find much of that in the mobile home industry. And that's really the reason why I consistently come back to the mobile home industry from 2016. Here we are, 2023.
Okay. And so during the pandemic, how was mobile home investing for you? Did you still thrive or did you notice, things were dropping off or what?
You know what, believe it or not, I think that was more of an increase during the pandemic area because you had individuals, and keep in mind, I do a lot of wholesaling as well. So in that period of time during 2020, people were still moving, making moves and things of that nature. They wanted to sell their mobile homes. You had families that were coming out of their single family homes because it was too much and they wanted to downsize to something a lot smaller, something a lot more conducive, where the utility bill isn't as expensive. And so mobile homes was their answer. So I was extremely busy during 2021. And believe it or not, it's a lot of times when you have those situations that happens outside of our situation, such as the pandemic, where you do see more of an increase of an influx where people are looking for answers. And 9 times out of 10, mobile homes, believe it or not, was their answer as to finding somewhere that's a lot more affordable when it comes down to everything financially.
Mhm. And so, Gina, where do you really do business at? Is this like one state that you do more business in than any other state, or?
That's a great question. So, majority of my business take place here in Arizona. So, I'm throughout Arizona, but Phoenix, Arizona specifically. The majority of mobile homes here in Phoenix, Arizona are mobile home park communities, pretty much are senior communities, 55 and up, quote unquote. I don't consider that senior, but that's what they consider as seniors. So that's where my hub is at. And I do dibble and dabble in St. Louis from time to time when it comes down to mobile homes, because that's a great market to be in. Even with single family, that's a separate situation. But when it comes down to what the pricing look like, when it comes down to what the lot rents look like, it's a lot more feasible in St. Louis versus Phoenix, Arizona. Lot rents here in Phoenix, Arizona range anywhere between $850 a month to up to $1,600 a month, depending on where you're at. St. Louis, we're looking at approximately $250 a month, which to me is a heck of a lot reasonable. On a high side, maybe 575, and that's if you're in more of a extinguish a lot, if you may say. So that's a lot more lucrative. It's a lot easier to find tenants that are willing to be able to pay a monthly fee on rent there, as well as being responsible for the lot rent. So those are the two areas. I'm looking into Texas, but I'm not quite ready to make that move yet.
Okay. All right. And so since we're talking about pricing, do you foresee, because these mobile homes back in the day when we first started, me and my brother got like free mobile homes. Do you foresee these prices getting lower? Because they're getting crazy.
Yes, they are. And that is some of the challenges that I do face here in Arizona. And that's why I strongly recommend looking into other different states that have more of a lucrative market, or more of a market that's a lot more doable. But yes, I do see the prices increasing, but only in certain areas, because I've seen where prices have just capped off, where they're not getting any higher. And I also seen some states as far as California and Arizona and Nevada, because once upon a time, Nevada was real low key with mobile homes, and they're also catching up on that trend as well. So I say that to say is that unless we have a wonderful recession, what I'm looking forward to have, um, I I do see where the rates have increased. Right now, they have capped off, but I will tell you about a year, 2 years ago, or right after the pandemic, that's when the prices shot up. Like for instance, I'll give you an example. I just sold a double wide, um, three beds, yeah, 3-2. So a 3-2, and that was going for 150K. And the out here, to me, that's expensive. But you still have people that were cash buyers willing to 150 for that. At the end of the day, you have to come with a strong strategy of finding some great buyers to want to purchase, a home for 150K, because a lot of times you'll say, okay, well, why would I invest 150K cash into this particular mobile home? And they still have to pay the lot rent, and they still have to pay their own utilities. So you really have to have a strong rapport with your buyers and keeping them in a position of seeing how still affordable it is compared to purchasing a single family home.
Okay. And so, Gina, I think what makes me and you a little more different than a lot of people that I interview or people that I talk to is that you and I are licensed, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're also licensed. So, what made you decide to get your license, and how soon did you get your license?
Well, Kelly, believe it or not, I was forced to get my license. Let me tell you. First and foremost, and I'll make this long story as short as possible. So 2017, I purchased a mobile home here in Phoenix, Arizona for about $5,000. And I only purchased it because I wanted to get my son out the house. So I purchased it for him. He saw the mobile home. He was just not feeling it at all whatsoever. That wasn't his style. That wasn't his thing. No matter how I try to tell him it was financially helpful for him. Okay. So now I got this mobile home, and I'm supposed to pay this lot rent, even though it's 575. I'm stuck with this mobile home and paying the lot rent. So my thought process was, okay, how do I get rid of this mobile home? So long story short, I used Craigslist again because that was a big deal then. I don't use it now. And I found someone that was willing to pay no, sorry, take that back. They was willing to purchase it from me. So I keep in mind, I purchased it for 5,000. I sold it for 17K. So when I saw the difference as far as how much money I made, because it was an easy transaction, just go to the motor vehicle department, we switch hands, call it a day. And I said, oh, this was easy. So guess what I did? I rinse and repeat. I did the same thing again. But here in Arizona, I did it 3 to 4 times. Well, I got a beautiful letter from the Arizona Department of Housing saying, hey, you're not licensed to be doing this. So you can't do this, basically. So if you don't do this, if you don't get licensed and we see your name again, we're going to fine you an astronomical fee. So that freaked me out. So I'm like, okay, well, what do I do? So then I had to look into obtaining my license. And it took me approximately, because we had to take a test. I don't know how it is in Texas, but I had to be able to take a test. But prior to taking the test, you had to go through the application process, which was a lot of red tape here in Arizona. So you go through the application process, you pay that. Then once you do the application process, then you take the test. So it took me about 3 to 6 months to get my license all together. The test is open book, but I will tell you, if you don't know what you're supposed to know, that open book don't mean anything. So it took about 3 to 6 months to obtain my license to become a licensed broker dealer.
So, Gina, would it be a fair assumption to say that the reason why you got caught with buying and selling too many mobile homes because you were buying and selling, you weren't wholesaling. If you were wholesaling, you would have never received a letter, right? Because that paperwork don't go nowhere.
Exactly, because if I was just wholesaling, my name never go on the title. So if my name never go on the title, they would have never known. But some people consider that skipping title, wherever the case may be. But I say that to say is you're absolutely correct. If my name, if I didn't actually, even, or say for instance, I have purchased a home, never put my name on a title, and it just gave the title to somebody else, which is considered skipping title. If my name never went on that, Arizona Department of Housing would have not known. That is absolutely correct. But here's the second part. By me being who I am, going in these communities, and they don't see
Right.
many of us in these communities, someone would have said something. Because I get that even to this day when I go into these different communities, because here I am in Arizona, I it's not hard to point me out. So I say that to say is that I would have got reported because you have this woman going in and out these homes, showing different people these homes. Someone would have asked us how it is here in Arizona. Oh, who's this person going and are you licensed and things of that nature. So I had to cover myself and take the steps to get licensed here in Arizona.
Right.
Mhm.
And a lot of people don't believe that the test is open book. I believe the test is open book in every state except for California.
Oh,
So
okay.
it was just a matter of flipping through some pages and looking for the answers. Was that the same in your situation?
Yes, so it was the same in my situation, but since my book was this thick, you might want to be study what you need to know. But yeah, no, but you definitely need to know what you're dealing with. But yeah, but I will say this, it was an easy test. You just flip through the book, everything was multiple choice, and you get your answers, or you know whether or not you pass the test the same day.
Okay. And if you were to fail that day, weren't you allowed to take it one more time that day?
Yes, I believe the state of Arizona provides you one or two more chances to take it. And then if you don't pass within the third time, I believe there's a window of time that you have to wait to be able to retake it again.
Okay. All right. And I don't want to put you on the spot, but as of today, how many deals do you have under your belt, if you can recall?
Oh, from the beginning to now?
Yes. How many would you
Oh,
say?
okay. Over 20 deals between here to now, to me for this year. But I
Mhm.
want to say over 20 deals, but a lot of those deals are comprised of just wholesaling is what it consists of. I've only did one renting situation out in St. Louis, but out of that, I want to say over 20 deals. And the reason why is because earlier on, it was so much faster, so much easier because the prices was so much more doable. But this field itself financially has blessed me with less stress. I mean, you make your own schedule, you make your own time, you create rapport. And then not only that, because of the industry it is, it's a matter of just networking with different people, such as you and I networking. So if I had a mobile home, or say for instance, if I knew someone had a buyer that's interested in a mobile home in Texas, and guess who I'll be calling? I'll be calling you. So this is such a great industry just to be in for someone just looking for somewhere to start in the real estate industry that doesn't have a whole lot of money, but that has the passion to be able to want to help people and be able to make a lot of money. This is where you want to be.
Okay. And so, Gina, how do you go about finding deals? Are you just driving for dollars, doing some bandit signs? How do you go about finding your deals?
It actually is a variety of things. So yes, driving for dollars as well. Bandit science is absolutely as well too. But being able to use social media, but not only that, but think about it. As simple as Uber driver. So from time to time, I do use an Uber driver. And guess what? When you communicate with that Uber driver and say, hey, you know what? As you're driving around these particular neighborhoods, I'll pay you X amount of dollars, even if you see a for sale by owner sign. Because some of the mobile home parks are not always in a gated neighborhood. They're actually in open neighborhoods where they're driving, delivering, especially Uber Eats. They do a lot more traffic than your regular Uber drivers. So I say that to say is networking, networking, networking. So find your buyers and also my previous buyers. So I reach out to them. I have an automatic email that go out to my previous buyers and my previous sellers, letting them know that, what I have available or if they have anyone they're interested in. And that's the opportunity to be able to still connect and find good potential buyers that are actually cash buyers. So those are different methods I usually take outside of your social media, driving for dollars, as well as your bandit signs.
Okay. And so, what are your thoughts regarding ghost ads? Have you ever created one of those in order to attract people?
I
Or
That's actually how I started off before
okay.
Facebook Marketplace started getting real strict. So yeah, I did start off with the ghost ads at first, but and I definitely use that. But not only that, but sometimes look at your competitors. You have people that will reach out to your competitors, hey, say, hey, I'm looking for a 3-2 or whatever the case may be. And a lot of times just keep an eye out on a response. Are the competitors responding to those individuals? And if not, then you reach out to those individuals and say, hey, you know what? I may have this available, or start gaining report. Or how long do you need this? Why are you moving out? Or do you have money to put down? Or do you need financing? Be able to provide a resource or be a solution to those individuals. So it's so many opportunities to be able to find cash buyers. People have the money. It's just being able to establish rapport and figuring out what is their why. And once you're able to unravel their why, then you can be able to connect the dots and seeing what can you do to be that person. And even if you don't have the inventory, you can always figure out who has the inventory and be that liaison from one person to another.
Okay. And so, Gina, what about building a relationship with the mobile home park manager? I mean, I say that is so key. That's where we get the sweetest deals. What are your thoughts about that?
Oh, absolutely. If you don't, then you are missing out. That's one of the first things you do, especially when driving for dollars. That's actually one of the first things I do before I even start roaming around the neighborhood is that if the office is open, because sometimes you may run into some situations where the office may not be open, or since after COVID, many times the park managers now here are working from home. So you have to be able to pick and choose. But I say all that to say is yes, because now I have situations where park managers will reach out to me and say, hey, I have a home that's available. And the park manager may not be in a situation where they can sell the homes. Sometimes they're required to sell the homes, depending upon what year it is sometimes. But I say all that to say is that, yes, the park managers will reach out to me and say, hey, I have this available. You know, what can you do something with the home? So that helps you out tremendously. I forgot all about that. So yes, establishing a rapport. I mean, you can bring them donuts and stuff like that, but just treat them like regular people and let them know what your goal is, and you be able to reach your goal a lot quicker.
Mhm. And Gina, do you notice since you're licensed now, do you notice that and when they find out your license, or maybe sometimes they ask you if you're licensed, do you notice that they kind of chill out with because sometimes they get a bad rep with them having attitudes and stuff. Do you notice that they chill out sometimes? Because I had a park manager tell me, "Oh, why did you just tell me you were licensed?" I'm like, "Well, why did that matter? We just having a regular conversation."
Oh my God, you hit the nail right on the head. There's a different level of respect that I do receive because and I get it because a lot of park managers, they've been scammed. I mean, I would be very honest with you. They have a sour taste in their mouth when they deal with investors, number one. So sometimes they're a little hesitant dealing with investors because they have been scammed in the past and in different stories that I can't even go on and talk to you about. So yes, that has provided me just a little bit more leverage and a lot more respect and a lot more opportunities on gaining for them to reach out to me, even, just let me know. Or a lot of times I have park managers that actually own 3 or 4 other different parks, and they'll say, hey, or they have a mutual individual that owns some parks and is able to communicate. But you're absolutely right, just from having this broker dealer license. So yeah, right.
Right. And so, Gina, how do you guys go about closing deals there in Arizona? And how do you go about checking for liens? Because here in the state of Texas, all of our stuff is online, and I haven't heard of any other state that, everything is online. How do y'all do that out there in Arizona?
Same thing. Everything here is online through online portal. That's one of the first things you do. So well, I say when I first gain a contract with anyone that's selling their home, just to mitigate any issues. First thing I ask for is clear title. And then I even take the title, go online to our portal to make sure it's clear, because these days you can create a title online, and say it's
Thank
clear.
you. I'm glad, I'm glad you brought that up. A title and a bill of sales. Yeah, you could
Yes,
create that online.
you
Okay.
sure can.
Go
So
ahead. I'm sorry to cut you off.
oh no, we're on the same page all day, every
Uh-huh.
day. So no, I take that. So basically, I take their clear title and I basically go into our online portal to make sure that there's no liens, no taxes that's owed on the property, or make sure their taxes is either up to date on that particular property. So no, I can pull up and see if I can pull up the website right now. But yeah, there are separate websites in the state of Arizona that you can look to make sure that number one is the title clear and clean. Number two, to make sure there isn't any liens or any taxes that is owed. So that's the first thing I do. First out of the three. Now, to answer your question, how do you close on that particular property? We do have our contracts that's involved, but also what I usually do, I usually take the extra step. We go to the Arizona Department of Motor Vehicles, because it's still considered like a vehicle. and we will close on the deal either there at the mobile home or we'll close there at the motor vehicle department. When we close there on a loan, that's when we have the funds exchange. I also have my notary to notarize the contracts and make sure we're on the same page with that. And then also I'm physically there when they do the exchange on the title. So everything is done in one lump sum. So there isn't any back and forth and things of that nature. And then within 7 days, 7 to 14 days, they will receive the actual title in the mail, but they receive like a temporary paperwork to indicate that the title has been exchanged. So that's how I close my deals, just to make sure that everything is solidified and there isn't any issues.
Okay. And so let's talk about the earnest money. Let's just say
Yes.
hypothetically a buyer contacts you, say, hey, Gina, I found out about you maybe through a park manager. I'm looking to buy a mobile home, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. And then you take them on as a client. At what point do you collect the money, the earnest money? Or do you ever collect the earnest money or you wait till you
Yes,
find a
ma'am.
house?
No,
Okay.
ma'am. So the earnest money, I am very frank with that. So your earnest money deposit, once they are truly serious, because that to me tells me that their interest in the property and there is some proof of funds. So no, the earnest money deposit is I do take down. In Arizona, I don't take cash because here there's a lot of false cash is going around. So I have to take cashier's checks. That's the only way I'll do my transactions. So they'll do the cashier's check for the earnest money deposit. And I'll hold on to it. I will literally won't cash it, do anything of that nature. I'll probably leave it in the same envelope that it is. But I'll hold on to the earnest money deposit until the deal is officially closed, and I'll apply the earnest money deposit to what the overall balance of what that consists of. So that's how I do that up front. But also during that time of having an earnest money deposit, I'm also checking with the park to make sure that they can be eligible to even stay in the park as far as the criminal history and all the other stuff. But I usually check that on my own, but I also make sure that they're clear through the park 100% before we even go to the closing situation, if that makes sense.
Okay. And at what point, okay, let's just say you already told them the park doesn't take any criminals and that the credit score has to be a certain amount. And you get to, the park manager and the credit score is in the commode. And they have a criminal history. Would you consider keeping some of their earnest money or would you give it all back or what?
Well, in my contract, it states that basically, if you give me an earnest money deposit and you are telling me that you know darn well that you do not have a criminal history, that basically you're clean and everything else, and it comes back, you forfeit your earnest money deposit. So you don't get any of it back. The only time that I would give a portion, and I said a portion of your earnest money deposit back, if there was a situation that was outside of their control, such as, say, for instance, we're getting ready to close. I had a situation where we were getting ready to close in on this particular home. And 2 weeks before we got ready to close on the home, a portion of the roof fell in, so something,
Wow.
yeah. So that also changed my strategy too. So now what I do is that before I get ready to take on a contract with anyone, I make the seller get an inspection on the home. I know most people get inspections afterwards. I don't do that. I actually have a guy that does inspections. He charges about between $250 to $400. And so basically I will coordinate that inspection and I will have the owner of the home pay for an inspection up front. So we all know what's going on with this particular home, even the things I can't see. I mean, I can see weak floors. I can see if there's watermarks, and I can look at the roof and see whether or not there's an issue, but I can only go so far on that roof because I'm not getting on top of the roof. So I say all that to say is that changed my strategy too. So now we're getting an inspection on the home. So therefore we have a smoother transaction when we get ready to close in on the home. But to answer your question, when it comes down to giving back any earnest money deposit, I only do a portion of that, never 100% of the earnest money deposit.
Mm. So Gina, this inspection that you're talking about, it's not mandatory, right? It's just something that you do to make them feel, a little more comfortable about what's going on.
You're right. So it's not mandatory, but I do that because it gives us both a sense of understanding as to what's going on with this particular home, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And Gina, I have like a lot of newbies be like, well, I'm really afraid to have the buyer and the seller meet each other when, wholesaling. What are your thoughts regarding that?
I used to too, but after being in the business, I'm over that. So what I do, I tell them up front, I keep to avoid any trying to play the juggling game, like, oh, I don't want you here and this and that. be very transparent with the buyer up front and let them know what is your protocol. If you're very transparent up front, then they have no choice but to deal with your protocol if they want your services. So what I usually tell them is that, number one, I prefer if you're not going to be here so I can show the person the home so they can feel comfortable. Because the thing is that when they walk into your home, they can already feel someone lives here. Okay. That's already kind of uncomfortable enough. And they got to know that you're physically here, So I say, if you want your home sold within record time, then you need to make this environment applicable and comfortable for the new person to come in so they can see what it will look like for them to actually live here. So that's one of the things. The second thing is most newbies are uncomfortable with having a buyer and seller there is when it comes down to how much money you is going to make off the situation. So what I do with the owner of the home up front, I give them a flat fee saying, look, this is how much I am charging. Bottom line, so we can get this all out the way, and it's written on a particular contract. And what else I tell them is that regardless of where we fall on this home, so for instance, you want to sell this home for 25,000 and we end up selling it for 20,000, I'm still gonna get my 5K that I need from you. So I say all to say is that lay everything out up front so there's no surprises. Put everything in your contract up front so there's no surprises. So no matter where we walk away from this game, you know where I stand. I'm transparent with you. You're transparent with me. And I'm still going to get paid regardless of the way it goes.
Okay. All right. So, Gina, what would you say your favorite strategy is since you've been, in the mobile home business? Renting, wholesaling? Because I cannot stand. I mean, I love wholesaling because you get that lump sum of money, but driving around, and I don't like wholesaling. I'm more of a renter, sitting on the couch, relaxing at home type of person. What is your strategy?
That's a great question. So keep in mind, I've only rented one home. But if I could compare the peace of mind, honestly, I would agree with you. What is the renting? Because honestly, when you're wholesaling, you're staying in hustle mode. Honestly, which I don't mind as well. But when it comes down to what's my most favorite, what would give me most peace of mind, what would allow me to go on vacation for 30 days and not have to think about when's the next check is coming, and it would be the renting strategy. And there's more renters than buyers out there. So I would absolutely go with the renting strategy. If someone right now watching this particular interview and they're saying, look, I need to start off, that would be a great position to do, is that you go ahead, create your LLC, get you some business credit, utilize your business credit. I cannot stress that enough. Utilize your business credit, take that business credit, find you a mobile home, start off with a single wide mobile home, something that's has is not much repair that needs to be done, and rent that out. You can rent that out quicker than anything else. So that would be my answer to your question. Is the strategy I will go by is the renting, because wholesale, you got to stay on your P's and Q's. You have to be constant hustle mode. You have to constantly be talking to your buyers, your sellers, and it's a job. I will say it absolutely is a job.
Okay. All right. And so what has been your biggest obstacle since you've been in this business?
Believe it or not, the biggest obstacle are the people that's watching. I hate to say that. So when I say that, I'm referring to the people that's within the community. For instance, I was basically forced to get my broker dealer license. Somebody contacted the Arizona Department of Housing. So I say all that to say is that is the people that's really watching you, the eyes that you cannot see, is one of my major challenges that I have had. I haven't had any issues with the buyers or the sellers. To piggyback off that, though, the second issue I would say is making sure that the person that owns the home is very transparent with you, making sure that the paperwork they're giving you is real paperwork. Is it a real title? And making sure that, is the roof not over 15 years old, and not taking their word for it. So those are the two main issues, because everyone is not as transparent as you may believe they are. Just because you're being honest, everyone else is not always honest, because they want to be able to get some money out of the situation. So you have to be able to use discernment and see through a lot of people. So that would be the second challenge, I would say.
Okay. It's like you said, you can create a bill of sales and a title on the internet. So, and a lot of people who buy these pre-HUD mobile homes, they just okay, I'm okay with a bill of sales. Of course, with pre-HUD, that's all you're gonna have is a bill of sales, not a title. But if it's not pre-HUD, why wouldn't you have a title? That just makes no sense to me.
Mhm.
I don't know why people take those type of risks. So that's just crazy. So Gina, how do you determine? A lot of people are like, oh well, how do I know how much to sell the mobile home for? How do I determine how much the mobile home is worth? How do you go about doing that?
There's a couple of steps I take. So first and foremost, honestly, you can go on Zillow to see if has there been a mobile home in that area that was sold. You can go on this website called Trulo, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, TRULO or ILO. You can go on that website to be able to say, look, I use a website called PropStream, PROPSTREAM, to see what has been sold as far as mobile homes or regular homes, because even though it is a mobile home, many of these mobile homes are still within line of what the market consists of. So that will give you an idea as to, okay, what should I charge my mobile home for? So those are different three websites that you can absolutely go to, just to be able to see. Now, PropStream, you will have to pay. Don't ask me how much it is, but it is a fee for PropStream. But you can be able to see what the homes are going for in that area, so you can get a better idea and get some good comps. So if you have a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, and you're trying to get an idea, go on the website, look at a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, look at the year, making, the model, the type of style. Is it Cavo, or is it what the styles consist of? And you want to make sure all those ducks align in the same way for you to be able to tell, okay, how much can this mobile home be sold for? So that's what I usually do.
Okay. And then you can also talk to the park manager as well, especially if you got a good rapport with them, you could talk to them. So,
Absolutely.
so, so Gina, have you done any deals like on land, or mainly all your deals inside of a park, or what's going on?
The majority of my deals have been on side of a park, inside of a park. I started to do this one deal on land, but there was an issue with that particular situation. Someone passed away. It was in probate. It was more of an issue for me on my end. But I would love to do a deal on land, but I have not done a deal on land.
Okay. And have you acquired any free mobile homes?
I have acquired some free mobile homes that I just immediately sold quickly because I knew that there was some issues with it. But free mobile homes are one of the best things to do, because you have churches that need to utilize those mobile homes for vacation Bible school or whatever they choose to do. You have schools that may want to utilize those mobile homes, or even it was one cosmetology school that needed to use a mobile home so they can create classes in certain areas. So please don't sleep on free mobile homes, because there are other entities outside of residential that need to utilize those mobile homes that can really work out in your favor.
Okay. And so, Gina, you said you had done a couple of deals as far as seller financing. Am I correct on that? Okay.
Yes.
So, when you created your note, did you use a mortgage loan originator, or did you create the note yourself?
Yeah, I learned the hard way. So I created the note myself. I learned later on that you're supposed to have a third party to facilitate that transaction, as well as hold the money until everything is said and done. So I learned later on, but I created the note myself. And that's what I was talking about in St. Louis. So I create the note myself, as far as, okay, this is the agreement between you and I. This is how much money you're going to put down, and you're going to pay over this period of time. This is the amount you're going to pay. So that was the mutual agreement. And thankfully, there wasn't any issues with that. But now I see the benefits of having a third party to do so. So if there's ever any issues between the agreement that's been made, and that's the purpose of having a mortgage loan originator to be able to assist. So now that I know, I would by all means do that. But yes, I did that myself.
Okay, yeah. Matter of fact, I have created some notes myself, and to this day, I would probably continue on creating the notes. I don't think I want the mortgage loan originator to be getting all of my money, to tell you
You
the
are
truth.
right. You're right, because they charge a fee. They charge a fee. They take a portion of your, yes. So I agree with you. I agree.
All right, all right. So, any legal issues you had to deal with evicting anybody?
I've been so blessed. No, knock on wood. No, I have not had any legal issues, or, the thing is how my system is set up. There's reminders that will go out to their cell phone as well as their email, letting them know when the payment is due, and things of that nature. But no, I have not. I've seen the different issues that other mobile home individuals have dealt with, and I just, so far I've been blessed. But at least I know I can come to you and anybody else and say, hey, help me
Oh
walk through the
yeah.
process. So
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. So, Gina, do you have any advice for, somebody getting in this business, newbies? Because man, I can't tell you how many times, and I've taken like 4 professional mobile home investing courses myself, but I can't tell you how many times I see people taking course after course after course and never take any action. Do you have any, advice for somebody who maybe having analysis paralysis?
Yes. Well, first and foremost, I was one of those people with analysis paralysis. I was one of those individuals who's jumping from one program to another. I did Byron's and his wife, Elite Mobile Home,
Right.
years ago before they even got to the level they are. I mean, I joined on before Nicole even, I was on there before Nicole Briscoe started, because I remember when she first started, I was already in their program. So, and also Trailer Cash Academy, been a part of that too. So I've been one of those people with analysis paralysis and jumping from one thing to another. But at the end of the day, you have to jump in the water and start swimming and start somewhere. So whether if it's, taking out a small loan, purchasing a mobile home, just stop there. Just purchase a mobile home and just stand in that and see what that feels like. And say, okay, now that I have this mobile home, do I want to rent it out? Or do I want to just flip it? So, but you have to put one foot in front of the other and start somewhere. You can't go wrong. When I say you can't go wrong, it's because there's such a strong support system that's out here that's willing to be able to direct you and guide you and help you, that you don't even have to pay anyone to say, hey, I have a mobile home, I'm in this particular state, what can I do? And there's people that's willing to assist you to provide a strategy or some ideas of what strategies to do. So my advice is just start and stop thinking.
Right, right. So, Gina, with that being said, would you be interested in doing any type of joint ventures with somebody who might want to reach out to you? Would you be okay with that? Or have you done any joint ventures or?
Yes, I have done a joint venture before, and it took a little bit longer to finally follow through. But yes, I did do a joint venture before. I'm open to it. I will say my schedule is a little quirky, but I'm absolutely open to the idea.
Okay. And how did that joint venture come about? Somebody contacted you or you contacted them or they had the home or you had the buyer? How did that work?
Well, someone had reached out to me and they were interested, same thing, were interested into getting to the mobile home industry. And what they had, they basically had a portion of cash to be able to purchase a mobile home. So that's what they did. So basically, we started off as far as putting our monies together, acquiring the home, and then figuring out what strategy did we want to use the home. Well, obviously, we went ahead and flipped the home. So that's what we ended up doing. And so I was able to basically teach the individual what all is involved when you flip a home, because that is a lot involved, because you need to make sure that the home is up to code, that there isn't any issues, more than just your rehabbing of the kitchen. You have to make sure there isn't any leaks, any issues with the gas. That's a big deal. And if it's how close it is to the propane outside. So you have to make sure you meet all these other qualifications prior to flipping a home here in Arizona. So I say all that to say is, yes, I've done a joint venture. I'm open to the idea. However, my schedule is a little quirky, but I'm definitely open to the idea.
Right. And I'm glad you brought up the gas situation because I had ran into that a couple of years ago. The people had the gas cut off.
Yep.
And so I was just thinking, oh, I'll just turn it back on. They was like, no, you need a certificate and all. I'm like, what? And that ran me a couple of $100. So yeah, that could be very expensive, especially if they cut the gas off. That could cost you a couple of dollars for sure,
Mm-hmm.
for sure. So,
Yes.
what is your 5-year plan in the mobile home industry? What are your plans?
That's a great question. So within the next 5 years, my goal is I thought about purchasing a mobile home park. I did think about that. I'm not quite sure if that's the direction I still want to go in right now, because now the mobile home industry is evolving so much now. So I don't know if that's the direction I still want to go in, but my overall goal is to acquire enough homes within a mobile home park. So not necessarily owning a park, because right now there's one mobile home park that has approximately 125 homes, but right now out of 125, they have approximately 25 vacant homes. So my thought process is to be able to go into the mobile home park and purchase as like a strip of homes right now. But as far as purchasing a mobile home park, I don't know if that's the direction I want to go in, because I'm just really studying the market and seeing what that looks like as the industry is evolving, between the tiny homes taking over as well as the container homes, which are not a bad idea. So I'm just looking and see what that will look like. But basically, right now, just acquiring as many homes within a mobile home park, because I can definitely see that can be financially feasible.
It definitely is. So Gina, when you acquire these homes, what is your plan to sell or finance them? Because I heard in Arizona renting is not that
That's
big, so
true.
you would sell or finance them out, huh?
Either sell or finance them out or either look into a different market. I'm really tapping into the St. Louis market because it is untapped, basically. So I'm really considering looking at that particular market and really helping out because those mobile home parks managers out there are really, I mean, they're investor friendly, happy friendly. Like, please come on down, do something, change something. So that's
Wow.
yes. So that's the
Wow.
direction that I'm looking into. Yeah.
Wow, wow. Well, anyway, so Gina, I really appreciate you being on here and taking time out of your busy day. And it was just such a pleasure to interview somebody who's licensed. I have interviewed a couple of people who's licensed, but uh, most of the people I interview who are not licensed, and people, oh, I think I need my license. And this is just proof, guys, that you don't need your license, especially if you're wholesaling, you don't need it. So, Gina, how would somebody reach out to you in case like they got a deal or whatever and they want to do a JV with you? Do you have a website or a phone number or anything you want to share with
Sure,
everybody?
sure. Absolutely. So I do have a website, which is G2 Mobile Home Manifestors is the actual website that I actually do have. You can reach out to me online via Facebook as well as Instagram at Mobile Home Manifestors. So basically everything is under Mobile Home Manifestors. I do have a direct line to G2 Mobile Home Manifestors, which is area code 602-824-8101. So you can reach me there as well. So I'm definitely open to provide any advice, to look into doing any JV deals. And within Arizona or either outside of Arizona, I am the type of individual. I love to fly, I love to travel. So there's no barriers as to what that looks like.
All right, guys, there you have it. Mrs. Gina Gerzie from Arizona. Well, originally from Detroit. My
Yes.
home girl, we doing it. I appreciate you, Gina, coming on here. Thank you so much. Guys, this is Kelly from Heels, Deals, and Wheels Mobile Home Investing Course. And thank you once again, Gina, for being on here. And I'm about to send you a text message here shortly, Gina. Thank you so much for coming on.